What's going on, Colts Nation? We're here back with Bleav in Colts. Myself and my guy, Jerraud Powers, special guest with us today. My guest is, he played 14 seasons in the NFL. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, and 15th all-time in the NFL tackles list. Wow. Yeah. Let's give it up for Antoine Bethea. Yeah.
No doubt.
All right.
/ owner / everything. My man, one of the most accomplished people in sports, period, man. I'm glad you was able to come on, man.
Man, appreciate y'all for having me.
Word, man. Let's go on, not waste no time since I got a 2-year-old in here that might explode at any moment, man. Let's just go and jump in it. Before the Colts made, the decision and trading for Matt Ryan and all that, what was your thoughts on the situation and everything that was going on with the Colts and how the fans are kind of just been waiting for Chris Ballard's, perfect plan to come to fruition?
Man, I think everybody was waiting. And I on the man-to-man pod with my guy D Buck, we were kind of talking about it where when they decided to let Carson Wentz walk. And my first thing was like, man, they have to have something up their sleeve, just because, I think everybody was kind of had a bad taste in their mouth of how the season went, and however you look at that of who has to fall on the sword, it is what it is. But I always thought like, okay, they have to have something up their sleeve. And with the quarterbacks that was out there, Russell Wilson, didn't know what was going to happen with A-Rod. Those are Deshaun Watson. Those are the quarterbacks. I'm like, okay, well, if you go get those guys, it's an immediate, better move. But once those guys got to moving, you had Jimmy G out there, where I thought was kind of a lateral move. And then, recently when when Cleveland signed Deshaun and Baker was out there, I'm like, nah, I didn't like that move. And yesterday, before it came out, my guy Darius Butler asked me, he was like, who you like, Matty Ice, Jimmy G, or Baker? And without a blink of an eye, I'm going to say Matt Ryan. I just think it's a great move for the Colts. I think it's a great move for the locker room. And I know a lot of people are talking about, it's only 2 to 3 years. Typically, that's all we giving quarterbacks anyway. If you get a rookie quarterback to come into a locker room, we only really giving them 3 years to show what they have. The game is not patient enough to see what that quarterback can give you. I don't think Jimmy G was a long-term. I don't think he was a long-term plug-in. I don't think Baker was a long-term plug-in. So again, Matty Ice, man, what he's able to give you, if you had to go play a game tomorrow, what he's bringing to that locker room again, when he steps in that huddle, he's going to be a for sure leader. He's been doing it for so long, and in my eyes, he plays the quarterback position better than the other two. And I don't think anybody in the draft this year will be available at the spot that the Colts will probably be picking to really be like, hey, this is our guy. So I love the move.
It's that time of year as college basketball takes center stage with the tournament finally upon us. If you're looking to wager this year, BetOnline is the #1 spot for all your updated odds and info, along with great contests, including the bracket contest where you have a chance to take home the top prize. Head over to the website and use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Bleav. That's BLEAV to get started. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino games. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Yeah, I agree. I think I know we were talking yesterday on the pod as well, and that was my take on it. I felt like Matt Ryan was the better fix for right now, just because of the leadership, just because of the things he's accomplished, and like you said, just playing the quarterback the right way. And all the other guys, there was just so many other questions or variables. It was just like, man, like you've been in that coach locker room, like you've been a part of the organization, and like I was telling Lawrence, like, even the bad years we had, like I remember 2011, the bad year we still had the tightest locker room. Like we still had chemistry. We still had those things. And that's one of the things that I was saying, like with Baker, I never really questioned his play. I hate judging guys off their play because you just never know what somebody's going through, fighting through injuries and all that. I said, but how he's handled everything. I said, that's not going to fit in that Colts atmosphere. Everybody is in this family type mode when it comes to the Indianapolis organization. So Matt Ryan, to me, was just the better fix just because of the things that you said, just playing the right way, leadership, the things that he's accomplished. He's been to a Super Bowl, like you plug him in right now, that you got a chance to win on Sunday. So that was my take on it as well. What about you, Lawrence?
Well, my take is, especially after talking with you yesterday, after talking with another guy, Will McFadden, yesterday, afterwards, which I wish you could have been able to join, but you were otherwise engaged at the time.
Yeah.
I like the move. I've been going over his film from last year, and I don't see the real loss of arm strength that they're talking about that Matty Ice had. A lot of people are talking about that, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, he really didn't have superb arm strength to begin with. He was more about diagnosing a defense, getting an accurate pass. If he needed to put zip on the ball in a tight window, in a 10 to 20 yard range, he was able to do that last year. I'm good with that. My only question is, how long is he going to be able to play at an upper tier level for the Indianapolis Colts? I don't know. You were talking about it, AB. Really, the Colts are probably going to have to find themselves a young guy at some point and kind of groom him into that starting position while they still have Matt Ryan on the roster. Would you think that?
Yeah, no, I think that's the ideal situation. You bring a proven vet in. He's gonna come in. He's gonna learn the system. And then one thing about the arm strength, I'm like, man, you got probably one of the best O lines in front of you. You fill a gap here and there. You got one of the better running backs behind you. So it's like, what we gonna ask Matt Ryan to do? He's going to do a great job, before the snap, getting people in the right place, getting us in the right play, and just above the shoulders what he'll be able to bring. But again, like you said, if you can bring a young guy in, sit behind him for a year or two, just see how they, how the process during the week goes, or how they breaking down film, how to assess a opposing team defense. That's what you want.
Man, talking about the offense, obviously we know the Colts, need some more receivers, need to kind of put some talent around Matt Ryan, but just, pausing on the offense a little bit and jumping to the defense, your side of the ball, your expertise and all that. What do you think the Colts defense is missing to kind of take them over the hump? They've been solid the past few years. Do you think it's a player or two that's out there right now, free agency, that can just take this defense and make it elite?
Yeah, man. If we go out there and get Stephon Gilmore, man, I think that would be a huge play for them. With the trade with the Raiders, man, we lost. I thought one of a younger corner, Rocketson.
Yeah.
But then we got Yannick. We got Yannick, somebody who can get to the quarterback. So I mean, depending on how you look at that, I think that was a good move for us. But if we could go out there and get Stephon Gilmore, and if we could get us a safety, we lost George Odom. He was a special teams ace, but he when he stepped into that safety role, he played well. He played really good. So if we could get us a corner, a safety, I think we'll be good on that side of the ball.
Excellent. Yeah, I was asked about that too, on whether or not the Colts could, was just a player or two from being one of those like 85 Bears, 2000 Ravens type defenses. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think so too. One or two really special players. Does bringing, already having the pieces we had in place, does bringing Matt Ryan make the Colts a more appealing target, do you think, for free agents? And did Ballard wait too long to get a guy? Is it too late? You know what I mean?
So I think this is where Chris Ballard get paid the big bucks. Being able to construct a team, and you don't always have to do it by going to get the big names or making that big splash. I do feel as though maybe potentially some guys that would have came over if we would have had a quarterback sooner. We could have probably made a move here and there, but with bringing in Matt Ryan, you still can go out there and get some guys that fits what you're trying to do in your building. And again, I think that's when I was there, when JP, when you were there, I think that was one of the biggest reasons why we were successful. Like if you look at a Pierre Garçon, like he didn't have a huge name when he came in, but the Colts knew what they wanted to see. Austin Collie, he didn't have a huge name, but he fit our system. You know what I mean? So again, I think you can go out there and you still can find guys that you can plug in, and their asset will set huge for the team and for their offense.
Hey, Colts fans, thanks for watching DeQuell and I here on Bleav in Colts. While you're at this, please take a moment to smash the like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we upload a video or go live, so that you can join in the conversation. Don't forget, you can share this stream. That would help us out a ton. If you enjoy this, share it. All you got to do is go right over here and click the share button, little red share button down here underneath, and share it to your favorite social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, doesn't matter. Thank you so much. On behalf of myself and DeQuell Jackson, have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Twan, I know you watch football daily, keep up with it all. Does Julio still have any left in the tank? Is there a possibility maybe Matt Ryan and Julio can rekindle, something? And because for right now, a guy like Julio, you can get him for cheap, for Julio, stake, you can get him from cheap. Yeah. Do you think that Julio could be a good piece added to that wide receiver room?
I think so, but then it's about expectations too, right? So Julio has to come in with a set expectation.
Right.
The Colts team has to come in they have to have an expectation for Julio as well. So we can't think that Julio is going to come in and be like he was when he first came in the league. You know what I mean? Obviously in the past years he's dealt with some injuries, but if we have him, such as like AJ Green kind of came in and played the role out there in Arizona. I can see that. You got Jarvis Landry out there. Hey, can we go out there and make that move? And again, it's all about putting the pieces together. It doesn't have to be a huge name. It just has to work for the Colts. That's all it has to do. Work for the Colts.
See, that's interesting, because then let's bring injuries into the conversation, because Odell Beckham Jr. just tweeted earlier about how much of a fan he was of Matt Ryan going to the Colts. Is his ACL injury, would that be a problem when it came to the Colts? Because he probably wouldn't be ready to mid-season if he thought about coming to Indy.
Well, these guys are different nowadays, man. ACL's not what ACL used to be.
ACL 6 months now.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then, if the way guys take care of the body, how much money they're putting in maintenance of their body, it's different now. You seen Cam Akers come off Achilles last year and play 6 months. Crazy. So I don't think the ACL will be much of a problem as people would think. Again, man, it's all about the fit. Where does OBJ come in? If he would be willing to come to Indy, where would he fit with the offense? And I think that's the biggest thing when you sit down in the meeting rooms, is like, when we plug this guy in, like how would it help us?
Man, I got an interesting question for you, man. So when the whole draft thing started to happen and Chris Ballard and Irsay came out so vocally kind of letting the fan base know that they weren't happy with the quarterback situation. It was my first time seeing Irsay really speak out about a player, about a certain position. Irsay, just like the rest of the guys that's been around the Colts organization for a long time. What was your thoughts on that when the coach came out and was so vocal about, trying to upgrade that position? Because that's something we're not used to in that culture. We're used to everything staying in house. Everybody think it's a cool, smooth slate in the organization. But when they came out speaking like that, it was kind of a shock to me. I liked it. Don't get me wrong, because it challenges guys to make sure everybody's responsible for their job. But what was your take on that? Because it was kind of out of the ordinary for Irsay to kind of come out as he did, talking about Carson Wentz.
Nah, man, I respected it, man. And you gotta look at how the season ended. You go out there and you give up a first rounder for a guy. You expect to be in the playoffs. In your last two games of the season, you lose to Oakland and you lose to Jacksonville. That's a no-no. So again, I kind of mentioned it earlier, like somebody has to fall on the sword. And you look at a guy that you bring in that you thought could take your team to the promised land, and for some parts of the season didn't play well. So again, it's about accountability. And JP, as you know, I think every team that you've been on, that I've been on, at the beginning of the season, that's one of the words that we always talk about is accountability. And it's not all on Carson Wentz. And I'll be a fool to sit here and say it was all on Carson Wentz, but to hear Irsay and Chris Ballard come out and speak out on that, like you said, it hold guys accountable. Like if you don't play to the standard that we need here, we got to get you out of here.
So you've been around the league, you've been on different teams. When it comes to how a team is built, like whether it's through the draft and being frugal in free agency or just going out and spending, which do you think is the better way of going about it?
I don't think it is a better way. It's about what you prefer. It's about what you prefer, and then it's about really like your owner. Does he have the time and the patience for you? You know what I mean? Because if you have an owner who has the patience and has the trust in the GM and the head coach, then of course I think people will say, look, we're gonna draft the guys that we want to draft. But hey, head coaches they're not getting 5 years, 6 years. Like I think everybody's at the point like, look, we want to win right now. So again, I think it's a happy medium where, obviously you got to do your due diligence and you got to draft well. But then when you have a chance to go get a couple of guys in free agency that can fill holes that's proven right now, you got to go do that. Just like, the LA Rams, they went out and spent their money on guys that were proven. But again, I've seen where the Colts, we did it in the draft and we were very successful with it.
Do you think that's the route the NFL teams are starting to go? Because like you said, you just mentioned the Rams, they did it and it paid off. The year before, Tampa did it and it paid off. Like, do you think more teams now are going that route? Like, hey, we're trying to win now. We'll spend whatever we got to do, 1 year deal after 1 year deal for all these big names and, to just host that Lombardi trophy at the end of the year? Or do you think doing it through the draft still works? Because I feel like you said, coaches don't have time. Like coaches don't have time to build a team and, do the things like it was when we first got in the league and when we first started. So what do you think the NFL is going, like far as everybody in the whole, more so that route, or is that kind of the hot thing right now, but it'll cool off in the next year or so?
I think it's a hot thing right now. You just hit it. The last two Super Bowl champs did it through free agency for the most part. So I think a lot of teams are, when free agency hit, hey, who can we go out there and get? Who can we plug in for a year or two, and can make a significant difference on our team? I look at the Cincinnati Bengals, right? So you look at the Cincinnati Bengals where they've kind of been doing it through the draft a little bit, But then this past offseason, they went out free agency and they filled some holes on their offensive line. So again, I think you have more teams looking to add some free agency additions here and there. But I think in the core of everything, you will want to build through the draft.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. But again, being able to add some pieces here and there in free agency. But to your question, I think right now, people are just looking into free agency just because, you're not giving your head coach that much time. You're not giving your quarterback that much time. So it's kind of a thing like we need to win in a year or two.
Your favorite player coach hire from this year out of all three of them that they happened, and why? Reggie Wayne, Cato June, and Mike.
Whew.
Oh yeah, you better be careful with this one too. I'm gonna go right to
it. Man, that's a tough one, right? This one I'm gonna give my reasons why I like all three of them, right? So I'm gonna go. The reason why I like Weez, a phenomenal player, a leader in the locker room. The city loves him, but he's able to bring that culture back, right, to the position. And the way that he'll be able to teach those receivers just the little nuances of the game, right, or how to play the position. He's a future Hall of Famer, right? So obviously he's going to teach them the playbook, how to line up, but being able to read the defense, being able to help them, little things at the top of their route and things of that nature. Like you just can't get that from anybody. Like when a guy that's been out there in the trenches and he's done it at the highest level, and to be able to get him back in your locker room, in your coach's room is man, that's phenomenal. And then go ahead, G.
No, I was about to say another thing with Weez, man, that I was saying yesterday, like, my 4 years with Weez, I never saw him miss one practice, one meet, and any of that. So just to bring that culture back to that room and expectations, like them receivers ain't gonna be able to just get off the hook, easy. He gonna hold everybody accountable. So that was my thing with Weez being back in that locker room.
Nah, no doubt.
Literally brought a hard hat to practice, so
Yeah. And then you think about Cato, right? You think about Cato, and I would say Cato was one of the playmakers at the position, right? The way he was able to read the quarterback, break on the ball. He wasn't big in stature, but he was always around the ball. And when you look at Darius Leonard and how he's always around the ball, I just think he can really give him some pointers and teach him some things, right? Just watching on film, I just see some things. I'm like, oh, D. Leonard, he could have got him another one here, or he could have got this there. So having a guy that played at the highest level, being able to sit in that room and sit next to him and say, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to look at. It sounds crazy to say, but I think could elevate his game, Darius Leonard's game, just a little bit more, but then also the other guys that surround him. So I like that move. And then bringing Mike in, I know I hear everybody speak highly of when he came into the locker room. I forgot what year that was, but when he came into the locker room and how he kind of changed the dynamic for those guys of how teaching them how to watch film, teaching them how to be a pro. So to bring him back on the staff, again, playing the game the way he played the game, hard nosed, a big hitter, smart. So again, bringing those three guys into the fold of things, into the locker room. Coming from good culture football, man, I'm happy to see it.
This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10.
And another thing with them three guys, being back in the locker room, it's not like they've been removed for so long. Like they're still, fresh in it. So, as a player, I always enjoy being coached by guys that was kind of fresh out almost, because you talk the same language, you seeing it the same way. And it just goes a long way when you're building that chemistry. Like when you're going over stuff on the sideline and over plays, it's not a miscommunication thing because you're both seeing it the right way because of guys that's kind of fresh out or still, been in, I guess, the mode for a while. So, I'm excited about those three guys. And then there's young guys as well. And, I ain't saying that the NFL is an old man's game, but trust me, like a young mind really change the dynamic and the thought process of what's going on a day-to-day basis, especially when it comes to the game plan, because sometimes like the older guys, older coaches can be stuck in their ways where they need some new, fresh, young information and, changes. So I just think just bringing that element to the game is just going to help out the coaching staff a lot. Like I can only imagine how them coaching meetings going to be when those guys are starting to speak their minds and their philosophies and what they think, we should approach, the week, week by week, every day in the NFL. So I think it's going to boost, everything tremendously, not just the locker room, but the coaching, coaching staff period too.
Yeah. And then even to piggyback on that, right? When you think about those guys just being able to talk to those young guys about life outside of the locker room. Like, sure, like I've been through the league. I've been through the same thing that you're going through, dealing with the same things that you're dealing with, and be able to have those coaches right there for you. I think that's going to play a huge part as well.
So I got a question for both of you. It's going to be a little bit different. It's a little bit of a personal question. So if you don't want to answer it because you're like, I really don't want to give that up, I understand. Each of you, what was the one play that most impressed yourself that you had done? And then the one play that you can't believe, like you were disgusted in yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I can't believe I just did that,
I go first. No, Twan, I'll let you go first. Go ahead, Twan. I want to hear what you got.
I would say the play that I think about the most that I left on the field, we were playing the Baltimore. Well, it was both of these times we were playing Baltimore, one at home, one in Baltimore. One play I forgot who the receiver was, but he ran an out route. I was in the slot and I broke on it. And if I would have caught it, it would have been 100-yard touchdown. It hit me in my chest, and I dropped it. And another one, it was in Baltimore. I was playing in the post. I broke on a deep over route. And another one hit me in the breadbasket in the stomach, and I dropped it. It would have been another pick six. But one of the plays that I always talk about, it was I was playing in Arizona. I was playing on Arizona. We were playing in Philly, and I broke on a good one, and it was a toe tap on the sideline. That it was a good play. It was a couple plays that I kind of was impressed with myself, but I'll say that one was the one.
Okay.
For me, it'd be the two plays that I kind of think about a lot that kind of could have, I guess, left me in kind of Colts history a little bit. When we played the Patriots in 2009 and we had that fourth down stop. Earlier in that game, I'm guarding Randy Moss, zero coverage, and I read the slant and I break on. It would have been a 99-yard pick six. I break on because I don't think Randy Moss could have caught me. I was the fastest person in the league, at least in my mind. I was. But so if I would have caught that, and then it's Randy Moss and Tom Brady's throwing it, it's just one of them things. It's just like, damn, I could have told my kids, like, yeah, Tom Brady threw this ball. I'm guarding Randy Moss. I pick it, and it's 99 to the crib. But then on that same play, Melvin Bullitt probably is happy I dropped this though. But on that third down, before the fourth down stop, I jumped the out route on Wes Welker, and literally on our sideline, and it go right through my hand, and it would have been another pick six. So it was just one of them things. But I tell people all the time, I used to always have jammed thumbs. That's the reason I used to drop a lot of picks. But the play that I probably remember the most, it probably just not one single play, but just being able to go against some greats and make plays versus greats, like the Randy Mosses, the Steve Smiths, like, even Reggie. I remember my rookie year, we in training camp, and I'm guarding Reggie, and I pick off Peyton, on a post to Reggie. And after practice, Bill Polian comes to me and says the next day I have to follow Reggie everywhere he go in practice. I thought it was just something that they were just testing me out. or whatever the case may be. And mind you, I didn't shut Reggie down by any means, but I think I proved to people I can start in the NFL. And then from that point on, I was the starter, you know, as a rookie in the NFL. So that training camp, just making plays versus guys that I grew up idolizing, you know, Reggie, like I remember Reggie in Miami, you know, remember watching Peyton when he was at Tennessee, you know, so just, you know, being in that atmosphere and making plays and kind of, you know, boosting my confidence to let me know I belong in the league. You know, those are probably some of the ones that just stick out the most. That was all I had for you, though, Twan. I mean, I appreciate you, y'all. My man, Antoine Bethea, former coach, great. You know, check him out with the Man-to-Man pod. Him and another great coach, Darius Butler. Appreciate you coming on, my man.
Man, you know, anytime, man. I got a lot of time on my hands, so y'all just holler at me whenever y'all need me.
Shout out to Howard.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, bro.
That's it. That is it for this Bleav in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And until next time, as usual, go Colts.
Sir.